Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Right, today we're going to lead with a real-life location. It's a one-to-one of a town just a little bit southeast of Dortmund, about 10 kilometers southeast of Dortmund in Germany. It's been commissioned by one of the biggest creators on the workshop you've probably never heard of. I'm not going to go any deeper on that one. You can do your own research. I'm sure you can. And it's by a creator we've done 12 times in the past, and it's exceptionally good at this sort of map. Today's second map is a redo of the second most subscribed map on the workshop, one from Scotland Tom, which has, yes, 298,700 subscribers. We're looking at the redo, and it's a very bold redo as well. But first, that's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's first map is Forest Town by Uncle Ron. Yes, Uncle Ron is back. Real life location, and it's very well done. One or two minor gribbles, one major gribble. Just, I can deal with it though. You can even see it in this start square shot here, the major gribble. We'll get to it later. Terrain Heights is a real life location. It looks like real life in terms of terrain heights. We've got resource painting, lots of forestry, a little bit of ore, lots of fertile. It makes all sorts of sense. Fishing, if you've got Sunset Harbour, it's not really a fishing map, but there is some salmon and anchovies to be had if you want. And then off to the workshop. Oh, what do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one. There's Uncle Ron. There's Chameleon TBN, which is the creator who's commissioned it. And of course, all of the bits and pieces that you'd expect from an Uncle Ron workshop page. There's One Click Collection. It's the Stray Cats Territory Nature Reserve theme. And then we've got a few things to subscribe to down here as well. It's not a very long list. There we go. Just have a little look down here. It's not a very long list. It'll do. It'll do fine. I'm sure most players with a decent system will be able to run this fine. We're also using the Berman LUT, which is the first time in a long time. I completely forgotten even existed. In fact, it's been so long since I used it. At some point I unsubscribed to it and I had to resub, but it's a very nice LUT. Okay, down the real life, we've got all of the real life intersections. So every intersection you see here is pretty close, if not identical, to the real life intersection. Little trumpet one going on there. I wonder where this road goes to. I wonder where. Shall we have a little look? Well, first of all, it's not going to go anywhere because it's a little bit shallow here. We are very close to the edge of the map, but if you're driving a sheet of paper, you could probably even got a clip. Not surprisingly, we've got a clipping street lamp there. Not surprising. But yeah, if we get down, we'll go down the ground level and just have a little look. Can you get a sheet of paper just up through the... You probably can. Okay. Again, it's not going to affect gameplay, and it is very close to the edge of the map, so very few people will notice that one, but I'm going to mention it because it's kind of my job. A self-employed job. Anyway, this road is very nice, and it's why it's going. A few of you will go, oh, I'm going to say no. This is fine. We're not supposed to have every bit of networking here. We're going to stop right here. The one thing it did do is it made me go, oh. When I saw the river at this location, I might not have noticed it. First of all, nice and wide and strong there. Yeah. And then if we turn the camera around, there we go. It's nice and wide and strong here. But the point where the road stopped, and I probably would have missed it, I see a bit of rail glitching there as well, is, just seen it now, yeah, the river here is a little bit just struggling. A little bit just struggling. But again, we are well away from the centre of the map. Most people aren't going to notice this area anyway. But I can point these things out. But yeah, it's like a bit of encroaching foliage here as well. Of all the places on the map, I really don't mind it this far out. But if I don't point these things out, somebody's going to complain that I didn't talk about Uncle Ron's problems and I pulled you up on your problems and it's not fair and I'm not treating everybody equally. Everybody is equal. Some people are more equal than others. Anyway, yeah, this is a good map. This is a good map. This is one of those maps that is actually better than it seems, but because of a few minor glitches here and there, and I'm going to highlight them, it's going to make the map seem worse than it seems. Does that make any sense at all? Probably a little bit. But yeah, the amount of work that goes into doing a map of this style, especially to have it one-to-one and have everything correct, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. And if you've never made a map before and you're looking at this going, oh, how come that's... Try making a map. Try making a map and try getting it to be anywhere near the standards here. Standards here are very good indeed. We've got next intersection here. Again, based on the real life intersection. So you might go, oh, it's not going to be great for traffic flow. Yeah, I know, but Chameleon wanted a one-to-one rebuild of the area. Of course, when I rate this map at the end for gameplay and that sort of thing, I have to rate it on how it's going to play, don't I? I have to. But that said, as a rebuild of the area, it's definitely very, very good for that. So I have to consider that. It's juggling so many balls in my poor little head. I've only got a little head these days. It's definitely... Well, the head's the same size, but I think the brain is shrinking. It's certainly... There's plenty... I think for every inch I put on around my waist, I lose about an inch of circumference of my actual grey matter. It's definitely going. I can feel it. I can feel it rattling around, rolling around in there. Again, nice looking area here. Nicely well done intersection going on there. And this is the start square area. So we've got a lake down here in the start square. In fact, I think the buildable zone goes up into this area. Now, most of the city build was actually to the right of the highway as we were coming along. I probably should have mentioned that. But the highway does continue here. But it doesn't continue for too far. And again, this is based on real life, so we have to roll with what's in real life. We can't make up our own highways when real life is concerned. This intersection here, this is the exit, and you can see Uncle Ron has plopped down some barriers down here, just again vanilla barriers, just to stop us from driving straight on. And then we have sort of like overgrown the end of the highway here, and it stops just through the underside of this overpass. And again, that's absolutely how it should be. The street lamp clipping there, but it wasn't on the highway and nothing's driving through there anyway, so I can deal with that. But anyway, there we go. We have rail as well. Obviously, there's a lot more in the way of networking in terms of roads. I can't, short of making this a 1 hour presentation, I can't show you everything. And again, though, with the rail, the bridges are a little bit low. We've got a little bit of clipping of the cables going through the rail line, and also some encroaching foliage you may notice here and there. Just here and there, and again, it's not going to affect gameplay. And if you don't like it, you can get your bulldozer out and remove the tree that is encroaching onto the rail. In terms of detailing, minor things like that are minor things. But they just take a little notch off of the score for each and every one that appears. But again, I do have one major gribble with this, and I will get to it. And again, in terms of a general player, if it's you or me loading up this map and we're not aware of the area, and I don't have the name of the town to hand, but I remember reading it going, I'm not going to be able to pronounce this correctly, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to say we're 10 kilometers southeast of Dortmund. I can do Dortmund. Anyway, if you don't know the area, you would very happily play on this map without a single concern. I'm sure Chameleon is 100% happy with the map. I'm not sure. I've not spoken to them, but I imagine that they are. But there is one thing when I went down, just sort of like I was actually checking something else, and then I stumbled across this particular thing whilst checking something else, and I went, oh, Uncle Ron, you got an out of me. That said, it was, if I didn't know any better, I wouldn't know any better. But it's because I went and checked something else. It turned up. Anyway, you'll see. We'll get there. The rail goes under the underpass. Again, this is very shallow for a rail underpass. Again, it's not going to affect anything in terms of... And of course, because these bridges are so deep, because City Skylines bridges are deep, that, I mean, in real life, that would not clip through with it. So you could probably allow Uncle Ron a little bit of give on that one. Of course, in the City Skylines build, we also have to not allow Uncle Ron a little bit of give. Because we're mean old ones, we are. We're mean old ones, I'll tell you. Anyway, the rail does continue down here. A little bit of catenary chaos here. Again, does it matter? No. Does it points off for detail? It does. It does a little bit. And I imagine there's a rail station here I didn't check, because again, if I was to check the entire map for that sort of thing, this review would take a lot more than 6 hours. It would, you know, we're talking 7, 8 or 9 hours, and Monday's show was already super long with all the extra bits I had to do on Monday's show as well. So didn't have all the extra time for this one. Enough time to check things like how nice the hills are. Yep, you're not going to be doing much building in the hills over here, but you can do some stuff. You can definitely do some stuff. I'm not sure what there are in German hills, but yeah, you can get some forestry industry maybe going on up there. A bit of ore mining, because there is definitely ore in them there hills. Right, this is the Ruhr. If you are into your rivers, this is the Ruhr is a major river in Germany. A little bit glitchy down this side with the water flow. If you compare that with the smoothness on the other side, you can see it's just struggling a little bit. But again, in terms of the river, it does feel like it's a natural river. Probably the pillar out the bottom of that bridge there could be taken out as well. And the easiest way to do that is just to drop it down below surface level. So if it does reappear, well, it's still down below surface level. It really don't matter that much. The tree painting, yep. The field painting, yep. All of that, all of the stuff that Uncle Ron does so well has been done so well. Okay, let's have a look at the shipping routes, because shipping routes, and it won't surprise you to know, on a map like this, we don't actually have any shipping routes. We do have 2 air routes, though, and the air routes do what you'd expect them to do. They just arc their way across in the long, smooth bend there, and we've got a long, smooth bend over here. You might say, oh, it should be a straight line then. Well, yeah, I know, but who's going to notice? Who is going to notice? At least you can have some airplanes in the sky just to break up the skyline a little bit of interest. All cool. Right, water flow in the start square. Well, there isn't really any water flow, but this I like. This is the planning here. We have 2 separate water sources. We have one lake here. We have a separate lake over here. About the only place on the map where this would work, having 2 separate water sources to pump and draw and not poison and pollute your people. That is very good thinking, Uncle Ron. Well done. Very well done. Right, so let's have a little think of what we have. We got a little bit of wind turbines going on. Glad to see them. I'm sure that's where they are in real life. Again, I've not checked, but does feel like that's where they would be. We do have a little bit of drowned tree syndrome with they've all got their trunks on. It's fine. It's fine. But yes, this is perma flooding here, and so they could just be shunted back a little bit. I gave that a long while to settle down. Right, what's wrong with this? Any ideas? Come on, think about it. Can you see? Yeah, you can see a street lamp clipping through there. That's going to cause a puncture. But also, can you see the pillar? Yeah, we've got a couple of pillars on the underside there. One in the middle of the road. That might be causing some kind of virtual obstruction. Yep, okay. So we've seen that. Here. Now, this is my gribble. I don't know if you can see this hill here. That hill, well, it's an island in real life, and it's just not quite good. And there's also supposed to be a small lake up behind there as well. So yeah, in terms of the real life one-to-one build, given that's a start square, I would want that to be more like the real life location. So that is my major gribble. See how long I spent on it. That's how much I was bothered by the major gribble. Were you bothered by the major gribble? Were you? Well, let me know. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. Make sure you're voting for Forest Town. And we'll just hide behind this reservoir here, which I didn't talk about. I did research the name of it. And again, I'm not going to try and pronounce the German name of this reservoir. Okay, what do I think of Forest Town by Uncle Ron? Well, aesthetically, it's very good. It's exactly what I'd expect from the area. The thing is, there's only a certain amount that you can do with a map like this. It's not an iconic location. Everything's done to a 4-star standard. I'm going to give it 4 stars, but I'm going to go at the bottom end. I don't think there's much more that Uncle Ron could do, though, to increase the score on that. Detailing, it feels like a 4-star map, but we have got some gribbles, and that start square location, I think I've got to go down to 3 stars. It is a 4-star map, but I do need to punish it because start square, not right. Gameplay potential, even with that though, it does feel like a very good playable map. I'm going a middle 4 stars. If you want to do a real life style location, Forest Town by Uncle Ron is a good map. And there's another map coming up right after intermission, and it's a stonker. I tell you, check it out. And so back with part 2. Now, remember Scotland Tom? What you should do. One of the pioneers of map making on the workshop has made some very good maps since as well. Not fairly recently, but more recently. And they had one called Boulder Rapids. This is a rebuild of Boulder Rapids made with permission, according to the workshop. So I've spoken to Scotland Tom personally, and I'm sure they gave their permission here. But it's a very bold redo. It's so heavily reworked, so I figured we'll definitely review it. This one is ZUGOE. ZUGOE. I'm going ZUGOE. By, oh heck, yunusemre.oguz. Yeah, I can just call you Ugos. Oguz. It's Turkish. I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail badly. I'm going to call you Yunu. There we go. I can do Yunu. Terrain heights look like that. Again, taken from the original. And look at the field painting and the resources. Very strong. Very, very strong indeed. Yunu. That's your name now. Fishing, if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, your fishing map looks like this. Yeah, anything worse than German is my Turkish, probably. Anyway, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map, also listed as industries. I wouldn't worry about it. You will need the tree cluster low poly as well, and we're using the Montebello theme, and I do believe the realistic 1.2 LUT. From memory, I think that's what we use. But yes, I wouldn't worry too much about industries because, well, let's have a little look at an intersection. There we go. Lots of bold intersections on this one. It does feel like they've been plopped, but they've been plopped well. Okay, not with any finesse. Yeah, we're not talking about intersections that have been really worked into the environment and have been spent hours tweaking or anything like that. But they have been plopped well, not badly. You know what I mean by that? You've seen the intersection beam. There's none of that going on here. It's good, strong, and it's strong networking today as well. You're going to handle a lot of traffic. Where was we? What was I talking about? What was I talking about before I got sidetracked by the intersection? I don't know. Maybe it'll come back later, and if it doesn't, it's too late. It's gone. It's out of my head now. I've told you my brain is shrinking. It's 2 in the morning here as well, so what chance do any of us have? Anyway, it's a big old bridge. Everybody loves a big old bridge, and it's parallel, and it's clean, and it's tidy, and that, I'm going to say, is the thing with the map. This is a clean, tidy map. All of the intersections like this looks like it's probably plopped as well. I mean, maybe it was hand drawn. If it was hand drawn, it was hand drawn with precision. So much precision that it looks like it was plopped. So there's probably a pillar missing underneath the middle of that rail there as well, under the highway. But as it hasn't appeared in the highway, guess we let it go, don't we? I guess we let it go. But yeah, this is one of those maps that the original map, I mean, it's got a lot of subscribers, mostly because it was one of the very early maps when most people were playing the game. But it was still a strong map at the time, which is why it got so many subscribers. And it's like I said, been completely redrawn here. And all of the intersections here, which has just added a whole new dimension. Almost a fantastical intersection layout. It's almost overdone. You may notice we've got some power lines here as well. They do connect up and into the start square from power, which we'll check out in a short while. So if you want power in the start square, you're good. You're golden. You're not going to have any worries at all. Another intersection here. Actually, that one's quite nicely worked. That's and nicely detailed as well. As is this one. Maybe I take that back about they're not particularly well worked. They're better worked than I remember them to be. Okay. Anyway, that's your start square right there. So I take that back, Yunu. Yeah, they're better than I remember them to be. So there we go. But a few of them do feel a little bit. I've got a big intersection here. I'm just going to plop that down. This is a good one. This is a very good one as well. Yeah, I take all of that back. My memory is starting to fail. I did record this flyover about 6 this morning, and now it's 2 the following morning. So I'm a few hours later on, and there are a few things I've just say slipped out of my mind. Mind you, that said, the flyover of Forest Down I recorded a little while even before ZUGOE. Come on, get it out. Anyway, here's another one of those intersections there. Shall we switch across to the rail? I think we can switch across to the rail. So yeah, now this is like a slightly encroaching foliage here and there with the catenaries. Yeah, this is like a realistic feeling map. If you go back to Boulder Rapids, the original map, what we've got now is far more fantastical in terms of the shapes of the coast, the boldness of the map as well. Plus we've got a couple of big reservoirs thrown in there, which just makes the whole thing feel more bold. And the rail route that we are following off here, I mean, we can take another route, but we're going to follow a route which won't follow a realistic gradient. It's not the worst, and again, if you're playing with just 25 tiles, you're probably not going to notice it. And in fact, on a map like this, you're probably not going to care too much either. It's all about building a big monstrosity of a city. Oh, I haven't built a big monstrosity of a city for so long. I'm more into the sort of like the tweaky, twiddly little... Oh, and look at this junction. Look at this junction. With the underground bits and the crisscrosses and the loop back and then the carry on over the bridge as well. The map, this actually sums up the map. This junction absolutely that goes off to where we started actually over there. But yeah, this junction sums up the entirety of the map. We've taken something which was a little bit subtle, just a nice coastal map with just with a big old bay, and we've given it some serious character with the networking. Some of you are gonna hate this. I know there are a few map purists out there who are going to be going, "Oh, what have you done?" But yeah, there's going to be a lot of players out there, actual city builders out there, who are absolutely going to love this. And there's something for everybody. Thank goodness there's something for everybody. I mean, not everybody likes this show. Thank goodness there are a few people that don't. Anyway, yeah, the map layout is way bold, actually. Let's check the shipping routes before I show you the layout. Before I forget to show you shipping routes. Shipping routes are fine. Okay, we have this one comes in. We've got the shipping triangle going on there. This heads on up here with shipping triangle on the back of it as well. Loops around. Only thing that's missing is a shipping triangle here, really. Just so that any ships coming out, if you place the harbour, say, here, and the ship came around this way, it would have to do a sharp turn that way. We've also got a T-junction there as well, which isn't needed at all. It would be fine without it. Water flow in the start square. We got some strong rivers. And the water is pushing around and through. So if you want to pump and draw, you absolutely can. Got multiple options actually with the rivers. So yeah, all good. Right, so there's plenty to talk about with this map. Plenty to talk about. Like the shape of the map. Scotland Tom's Boulder Rapids, it was a long bay with a couple of rivers running down it. So we had one river that did come up all the way out here. Now we've got a reservoir right here. We've got another river, which is two rivers. One which came up this way. Another one which split off in that direction. And now, of course, we've got the reservoir there as well, with a couple of big old dams. There was also a long sandy bay, which is now broken up. Got some extensions, some reclaimed land, some islands added in there as well. There's a whole bunch of new stuff thrown into the mix. And some interesting detailed areas as well, like these fields are interesting. They're not to my personal taste. I like what's been done. I like the way they've been put in there to break things up. But it just doesn't quite fit with the rest of the map for me, just personally. Some strong hills with some good field painting in the hills. And the Montebello theme really makes that work very nicely indeed. Over here we've got some more strong hills. And a little plateau there, which isn't as flat as it looks. So if you're going to be it's a map where if you're going to be building on it and you're coming away from that the old start flat area, there are some areas that you're going to be challenged with your city building skills. And good, it just adds an extra dimension. And extra dimensions are extra points. Now this one here, it's a Turkish creator. I'm thinking this is the Turkish flag. I've turned it the wrong way. If you spin those around, so the moon's on the left and the stars on the right, that's the Turkish flag, isn't it? I am impressed that I spotted that. We've got an island over here. This is a nice little island. I'm liking the shape and the texture and the design of this island. It's not the most polished thing of all time, but all told, I'm more of a fan of this than I am not a fan of this. And this is fun as well. These are switchbacks with loops. And again, it's not subtle. It is very much of its type. And in terms of the way that the map has been done, this kind of networking fits absolutely perfectly. I mean, I think it's grotesque. I think it's absolutely grotesque. But I can't complain about it. And it is, in terms of a design piece, it really works. As does this as a design piece. In isolation, this is the only place on the map where we have this with some really... It's like a patchwork, isn't it? It's a quilt. It's a quilt of fields. Little farmhouse there. We've got a little cleared field here with fencing. Again, I can't fault it. And in terms of how it fits in with the rest of the map, I think it actually does. Then we've got a couple of dams. This dam here, there's a little talking point beyond the fact that it actually produces power that goes down to the start square. And that's over here. We've got a little slipway for the overflow. Now I'm liking the way that it's been done. We've got the sand running down and underneath this little bridge here. So that would actually work. So credit for that. There's your windmills and your power lines that then lead from the dam and the windmills down to the start square. So that is all good as well. Then over here, now back to Cities Spike. Sometimes those spikes work, sometimes they don't. And sometimes in these underwater rocky areas, some of these spikes work for me, some of them don't. And it's all down to personal taste, probably. Probably. I think on this particular map, you can get away with a lot of this. Because it kind of fits with the style of the map. But yeah, those spikes, sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Another big old dam here with a big old reservoir behind. And a big old spawn point at the top, which again, in terms of the context of the map, this big old spawn point, it works. Also, we've got outside connections over here as well. You may have noticed that. But yeah, the spawn point, I mean, in isolation, I hate it. In the context of the map, I think it absolutely fits. So, again, I'm going to give some credit for that. Plenty of buildable space, very complex, fanciful, superly fanciful networking. Then if we head down here, we've got Ooh, It's a Castle. I nearly forgot to show you Ooh, It's a Castle. Yeah, well, again, in context of the map, this works. Into context of everything that I like about castles, it doesn't tick all of my boxes. The location is fine. Don't mind the outer wall being curved as well. That kind of fits with the peninsula. The Essential Lighthouse, isn't she lovely? Yeah, that works for me there as well. 3 cemeteries, a lot of dead people, and then the castle. Right, okay. Have a look. You've got the walls going through the towers, and the doors are extended. They're all pointing in the same direction, so they've not been... These towers seem to have just been plopped and extended into the sky, and none of this really works for me. They could be rotated so the doors are facing the right way, and clipped into the walls better, and the walls even, they could stop and then start and then stop again without running through the middle of the towers. There's plenty of little gribbles for me. It's a gribbly day, I tell you. Are you gribbled? Let me know. Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewers' Choice Top 10. Use it or lose it, they say. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now or the link in the description. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But make sure you're voting on ZUGOE by yunusemre.oguz. Right, what do I think of Yunu's work? Well, it's bold. It's very bold. It's suitably different from Boulder Rapids, which I didn't give a very high score for aesthetics. This one gets a higher score. I don't think we can go 4 stars though. I'm going to go for a medium high 3, but it's still, what I say, it's an improvement on the original. Detailing, it's bold, it's in your face. Is it 4 stars? I don't know. No, high 3. Gameplay, this is 4 stars. This is going to keep a lot of people very happy. It's not for me. It may not be for you. But I think the people that start playing on this one are not going to stop playing on this one. So I'm going to give this one just below middle 4. ZUGOE by Yunu from Turkey. I'm not going to try that again. I'm completely rubbish at Turkish. And German. And Spanish. And Polish. And Norwegian. And the list goes on. Struggle with English at the best of times. And I can't do accents either. Barely talk. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. Join me on Friday or tomorrow night as well. We'll be doing another treasure hunt looking for map gold from maps that have absolutely no thumbnails. It's a bare minimum you can do is to join me then and to use the word of the day to prove you're part of the 20 and out elite. And I'll be back very, very soon on Friday with more What's Map. Thanks for watching.